Hi folks, we're with Aoife Drew in Enfield. She is the two candidates running for Sinn Féin in the 24 election. Aoife, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks very much.
And looking forward to having a chat to you. You're the youngest of the candidates.
Yeah.
What has drawn you into politics at such a young age?
Well, I did my Leaving Cert in June there last year. And I started working 2 weeks after my Leaving Cert. I joined Sinn Féin. You know, I'm not too happy about the whole housing crisis and stuff like that. Like, I have 2 brothers abroad at the moment and I have a sister going back over. They can't afford to live over here.
Right.
So everyone's saying, like, why Sinn Féin? Just aligns most of my priorities.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of it.
Yeah. And where do you, if you're 18 now, so you're thinking to yourself, right, what am I going to do in the next few years? I'm going to go to college, get a house, do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I'm not one, I don't really like thinking too much of the future because, you know, like, I don't want to get my expectations high, like, living over here, you know, but I don't want to leave, if that's...
Yeah.
Like, I'm in college now, I'm studying a BCL, Bachelor of Civil Law with Politics.
Okay, yeah.
So, I'm looking to be a solicitor, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'll go into teaching, I don't know. Whatever.
And what do you, I suppose the broad question, but, you know, you're running with Sinn Féin. What is it that draws you to Sinn Féin?
I come from I wouldn't say politically diverse family, but my mum, she, like, jumped ships a couple of times, you know, like, she's not, like, she's a member of Sinn Féin now. When you say
jump ship, she won from one party.
She's not, like, she has never been a member of any other party other than Sinn Féin.
Okay,
but
right.
Back in, like, when she was living in different electoral areas, she'd vote different candidates. I think she voted more the candidates than she would the party.
Yeah.
And she did, like, you know, certain parties at one stage, but then they were like, look, this is not working for me. But my dad and his side of the family are all Fianna Fáil. So
some of, if not all of, Sinn Féin's history, and Sinn Féin has very, I would say, an interesting history in politics, right from its conception at the turn of the century, up to and through the whole, you know, 1920s, the War of Independence, you know, where Sinn Féin was founded, and then as it progressed then over the years, then, you know, what have you any thoughts on? I know you could talk about Sinn Féin history all day for a week because it's so intricate and there's so much in it. But in terms of the historical end of Sinn Féin, would you be thinking about that kind of the past, or would you be moving towards the future with Sinn Féin?
I'm looking towards the future. Like, I mean, especially when I'm canvassing at doors, people are like, do you know what they've done? Of course, I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm, like, born in 2006. Like, I know people who have experienced things like that.
Yeah.
Especially my dad, like, he makes it very clear, like, that look, like, my parents used to have to ring me every day and had to go out looking for me, like, when there was bombings and stuff like that. But the thing is that a lot of this stuff has nothing to do with us, for a start. Secondly, a lot of this stuff has been published by the likes of, I'm not going to say...
Oppositions.
Yeah. It's all propaganda.
Yeah.
Do you really think that they're going to, you know, say, oh, like, Sinn Féin didn't do that?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, Sinn Féin is great and all this. No, they're not going to, because they want to get their parties in. So, of course, they're going to spew all this stuff out.
I think it's very poor political debate when you see opposition parties bringing up, you know, the old past with Sinn Féin.
Because they can't afford to.
Well, yeah. It's a cheap way to debate, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Leo Varadkar famously said, you know, you're tipping your balaclava or something like that at the time. And I thought to myself, like, I mean, that's really just, it's not that it's on the below the belt or anything like that, but it's just like something, you know, a kid would say to you in the playground, you know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
it's cheap talk.
Move forward, and let's see what we can do with the future, is the way I'd see it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think every party has their dirt on other parties.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, I mean, I think just Fine Gael have a better way, and Fianna Fáil have a better way of conveying that towards Sinn Féin, because theirs happened more recently. But if we go back, like, I'm not going to go through it, but if we go back...
Oh, you don't have to go back far at all with Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil to find major problems.
Like, even during the time of the Free State, like, I'm not going to... You know, like, Ona Duffy wanted to break Irish neutrality.
Yeah.
You know, they were a fascist regime at the time. I mean, Sinn Féin are not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're not. And Fine Gael now trying to say that we're progressing, we want this, that, and the other for the country and all this, and then they're saying that Sinn Féin doesn't want, Sinn Féin doesn't have Ireland's interests at hand. So it's just hypocrisy, to be honest.
You have a lot of young people, I suppose, that would be looking into politics from the newer platforms like TikTok and maybe Instagram and stuff like that. What would you say to them people looking at this and thinking about who they want to vote? You know.
Well, do your research, I'd say.
Yeah.
And vote Sinn Féin if you can. But, I don't know. It's just trust your gut sort of stuff. Whatever you think.
From a younger person's point of view, where do you see the difference? I'm sure you've probably bumped into some of the other candidates now and all that sort of stuff. You know, I think in some ways you're being a bit younger would have some advantages. You know, so obviously you have some disadvantages.
100%, yeah.
But your advantages, I think, are that, you know, maybe you can connect with the younger people and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, all of my priorities for canvassing is all about young people. You know, I'm not saying that the older generations don't matter. It's nothing like that. But I mean, Enfield has everything for anything but the young people. Same with Longwood, same with Trim. You know, especially Longwood doesn't have a playground. Enfield doesn't even have a community hall to hold anything anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to I was talking to a girl there canvassing, and she gave me a lot of good ideas for you know, opening up youth clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that, I'm not saying, I don't know, we'll see what happens coming election time, but I don't think the other candidates really understand that we've been deprived of so many services. I've been through myself. You know, I only turned 18 this year. So beforehand, there was nothing for us. You know, you'd have to go into Maynooth for a day out. Couldn't do anything in Enfield.
Yeah.
So I do think that maybe hopefully the young people understand that I am trying my best to, you know, get stuff going for them.
You see recently over the last couple of weeks, what's today? Today is the 16th of May, I think, is it? Something 15th, 16th of May, something like that.
The 14th.
Yeah, so over particularly in the last month, you see worldwide where the students on the campuses of the major universities around the world have protested about Gaza.
Yeah.
And the ongoing war and conflict there. And, you know, the young people have, you know, they have done more to cause ripples across the world with the conflict than any other protests kind of group, you know. So it just goes to show you the power of the young people. And what they're saying is they're saying, well, we're the students, we're going to be sitting in your shoes in 15 years' time. So this is the future, you know. So that's I suppose that's where I'd see, you know, yourself and things like that coming from, you know. What sort of response are you getting from the doors and how's that going?
It's I will say it's very mixed, but we are leaning towards supportive than opposition. There is some people who won't even give you time to talk. They're no, I'm sorry, I can't vote Sinn Féin. Or, you know, I got a lecture off some fella the other day, it was great. I was can I just go now? But I had to listen to him because I didn't want to be bad. I know he made some valid points, but I have other doors to go to. And it wasn't even for me; it was for Dahi that we were canvassing for. So that was great. But no, especially around the newer states, there's a lot more Sinn Féin support.
People would lean towards Sinn Féin a little bit more in the newer states.
Well,
you see, the thing about that is, I know, I think Sinn Féin, without Sinn Féin, there'd be no peace process, you know, and the Good Friday Agreement may have not come about if it was, you know, specifically for Sinn Féin and their involvement through the peace talks and everything like that. So, in terms of all that history, that's where it ended up. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose it's you know, going out there, this is your first time canvassing this year?
Oh yeah, that's why. So I couldn't run before.
What was that like? Did you ever run? Did you ever go out canvassing with anybody before?
No. At the first stage, I was kind of the protest. I was I don't really want to do this. It was you're just gonna have to do it. It'll just roll off the tongue after a while.
Yeah.
And it does. It gets better. The first 3 times I had to go with somebody.
Just get the swing of it,
yeah, and then they were like, "Are you leaving me now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have to go. Like, I have to go try it out on my own."
Yeah.
But I'm grand now. Like,
yeah. But you know, it's like it's in ways it's like a little bit of it's kind of like sales in a way. It's cold calling sales in a way, and it can be very intimidating. And if you were, you know, if you were unfortunate enough to get somebody that could be nasty to you in the beginning, it could really throw you off. You know.
Yeah.
And then you could be lucky. You could get the first 3 people that could be really nice to you, and you go, "Oh, this is great." And then you get the 2.
Yeah, you kind of get a fright, like, No, look, I mean, I've gotten used to it at this stage. I think there's only been about 3 people who were kind of bad. Like, there was this one fella that we came to his door, and myself and Johnny were just standing there, and we didn't see the sign that says no election literature canvassers, and he came out and he was like, "Can you not read?" and all this, started roaring at us, and I was like, okay.
Right,
Had to run away.
Yeah, but look, it's everybody to their own. You know, you catch people in bad times as well. They could be, you know, they could be just after maybe getting a tax bill or something like that, and they just wouldn't be in the humour to talk to anybody.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So, if it was a case where you got elected, where would you see yourself? What would you do for the people if you were elected?
Well,
I know it's a big question and there's a big answer to it as well, maybe to take it into little parts. Like, I suppose locally, what would you see yourself doing?
It depends where I am. So, like, in Enfield, that's like I live here, like, so I'm from here. Youth services, roads are really bad. Like, even in the estates, they're giving out about the roads, and like the newest one, there's actually an issue with one of the estates on the ring road here. I don't know if you saw it. Like, Johnny brought up in the Dáil, the Johnson main. The water main won't connect, and we're just getting in touch with Ishka Aaron, so hopefully get that sorted. And then in Longwood, I'd like to see a playground there.
Yeah.
The roads in Longwood are brutal.
So you work on that then as well.
Yeah, and then just like, it's kind of just roads and estates that are kind of like, I have gotten a couple of queries that weren't really related to public kind of stuff, more private stuff. Yeah.
And how do you see yourself? Because I spoke to other councillors as well, and over the course of the series, I got to know some of the councillors, whatever it is. And part of being a councillor is that I've learned is being personable to people. You know, people call you, they have a problem, you need to deal with it, or you try your best to deal with it. That's what you're talking about, I presume, is it? So somebody's ringing you with something.
Yeah, you do kind of have to, as much as empathise, you do sympathise with them. Like, some of the issues that you probably have never even heard of in your life, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Look, I really need your help with this, and is there anything you can do for me? Is there any way I can get in contact with a local TD or something?" Yeah. It's all about, like, sometimes you just can't relate to it, so you do, like, I feel like it's difficult when you can't relate to it. It's hard to solve the problem. Yeah,
but then you have Johnny at the end of the phone there.
I have to say, Johnny, it's difficult when you're not on the council. There's very limited things you can do when you're not on the council. So I mean, like, once you're on the council, it's easier to get re-elected.
Yourself and Johnny seem to have a good connection there. So I'm sure that if you had something that you'd feel, you can just give Johnny a call and
100%.
Yeah. So and you've gotten to know Johnny then over the last little while there. So how's that? Like, is he? I presume he's just answering every question you have, or how's that going?
Yeah, like, we just, like, he's been great help. Like, can't disagree. If I have a question, he's just like, either send it onto my email or give me a ring and we'll talk about it. We've worked together on issues, and then I have, like, Johnny making representations on my behalf.
I see him, you know, I follow him on the social media there, so I'd see any of the emissions that he makes on the. I'd see him where he'd make where his speeches in the Dáil, you know, and you know, he always comes across well, and he always speaks very well for, particularly around. He's from around Oldcastle direction, I think. Isn't he? Yeah. He speaks very well from that, and I suppose he's a long time in politics as well.
From what I know, what I've asked him, he's lived in Boston for the last number of years. He actually didn't get elected to Meath County Council until 2014 as a councillor.
Right, okay.
And obviously the general election, I think he 2020 the general election he got elected?
I think, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly
he took over for Tobin, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Representation for Tobin.
And it's and I see as well with Sinn Féin, particularly a lot of kind of commemoration events as well. Have you been to some of these?
I have. Yeah.
And what's that like?
It's good. I don't know. Like, it's something you have to go to. Like, not like that, but like it is something that you have to. How do you explain it? Like, remember the past as well. while moving forward.
Yeah, I suppose in a way it's kind of maybe tipping your hat at the efforts that people in the past did, and it's very easy to forget some of the sacrifices that people made in order for us to have the situation we have in the country now at the moment. I know there was a commemoration in Longwood recently. Was it Frank Stagg was? I think,
yeah, the town was packed.
Yeah, I was away that day. But it's good to reflect on these things, and I suppose sometimes it's kind of hard to comprehend as time moves forward the sacrifice of what was in these people's heads at the time that made them make such sacrifices.
Yeah.
Like hunger strike and these sort of things.
Oh, 100%.
But in terms of political sacrifice, you can't ask for anybody. You can't, and these people didn't even ask for these. They weren't asked to make these sacrifices. They voluntarily put themselves up for it. So, it's difficult really when you put your mind into their mind for a moment and think what they must have been going through at the time in order to do that, and their political conviction. As you compare maybe Fianna Gael or Fianna Fáil. With that sort of thing, it's a totally different. The depth of it is totally different.
Yeah.
Where do you see? I'm sure you're following the politics or the commotions that's going on now at the moment, with all the political upheaval, I suppose, in the country at the moment. What do you think of all of that now that's going on at the moment?
Which, like with the
in terms of let's say the immigration, the protests that's going on up in the Dublin, that sort of stuff. What do you think about that?
Well, honestly, I think that we should have a reform of borders.
Mm-hmm.
Like we should. Sinn Féin. If someone says to me, are you letting Sinn Féin speak for yourself? I'm going to tell you right here, right now. I don't think we should have open borders.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should have fair borders. People who should be here should be here.
Mm-hmm.
People who are coming in, working. I think that's fair. But people that are just coming in, sitting on the dole, it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not. I don't really think it's much of being racist because the Irish people give out about the other Irish people on the dole.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because of the immigrants.
Yeah.
But I do think the way the government has tackled this issue, putting tents on the street.
Mm.
Sure, a homeless person doesn't even have a tent most of the time. They're usually sleeping in a sleeping bag under a door.
Mm.
It's stupid.
Yeah, they have.
They shouldn't be. I understand if you have the housing facilities there. Sure, that's fair if you have enough for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, then why bring them? We should have sorted our own before. That's what I think.
Well, the sensible thing to do would be to look after our homeless people. I don't know what it is, something at the moment about 13,000 say that's. But now when they say homeless, that doesn't mean homeless, like they're in temporary accommodation and stuff like that. There's a very small proportion of the 13,000 that's actually on the street.
Yeah.
But, it only makes sense to solve or make some effort to make a better solution for that problem before you bring in the people there now, and then of course there's a big problem now at the moment where they're coming in from the UK, they're coming in from France into the UK and then coming through the open border in the north.
Yeah. Look, I can tell you right here, right now, right? You do not need a passport on the ferry most of the time to get in from England to Ireland. I don't think I went to England. I think without a passport at one stage. I never even had a passport just to go over for a funeral.
You just need some form of ID. It's
That's it. Yeah.
It's the common. I can't think of it now. It's called the Common Travel Agreement or something like that. It's between the UK and Ireland. I know that because I went to go over to England recently and I forgot to bring my passport. But I think my driving license was enough to get me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the election is coming up now in the next 3 weeks. And it's every night. What's your routine now for the next couple of weeks, or how's it going?
So I have exams next week.
Your exams?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I have 3 law exams next week, and then so.
And you're canvassing every night?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And then I have driving lessons every Tuesday night or Tuesday morning.
Okay.
So we canvass Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Either in the evenings or the mornings. Then I have my exams next week, which don't clash. It's only a Monday, Friday, then Monday the next week.
Yeah. So it's all fairly intense.
Has to be done.
Yeah. with the canvassing and stuff like that, I suppose obviously you have a little team that goes out with you and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that, yeah.
So like it's
So you pick
usually
an
the
area.
same people, and we just either go to Trim, we go to Enfield.
Yeah.
Enfield's already finished, Trim's already finished, so we're probably going to move on to either Beliver or Longwood.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or Summerhill. You know, just go down, just go door to door.
Yeah.
So,
And then I suppose the election day will be the big thing. I suppose there'll be a lot of kind of excitement and stuff like that. I've never been in that situation. I've just seen stuff on the TV where they'll be putting each other up on the shoulders and stuff like that if they get elected.
well, I hope that if I do get elected, I hope that doesn't happen to me.
Huh?
I hope that doesn't happen. I can't deal with heights.
Yeah.
No, I think it would be good. Like that's what Mam's always asked me. She says, "Are you going to be upset if you don't get elected?" And I'm not really, because either there's pros and cons to either getting elected or not getting elected. You know, both of them are going to have the same amount of strain on someone.
Well, I could only say, like, if I was in your shoes and I got elected, I'd be delighted, and then I'd be kind of going, "Who have a big job ahead of me."
Yeah.
If I didn't get elected, I'd be disappointed, but little bit relieved as well.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, no, having said that, like, I mean, it is a big job, and some people might think being a councillor is not a big job, because it's kind of officially it's a part-time position.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know councillors, who they're just dedicate themselves 24 hours a day to it, and and I suppose to be an effective councillor, it can become that sort of a thing, and I suppose if you were elected, then you'd probably grow into that sort of role. Do you think? Do you know?
I think like once you get into a routine of it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I should put too much pressure on myself, but like if something needs to be done, it must be done.
Yeah.
No ifs or buts about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I'm not saying I should put like too much pressure on myself. Like if I see like there's so many different events on like within the same week, I don't have to expect myself to go to every single one of them events.
Yeah.
But like go to as many as I can. But don't like burn yourself out sort of stuff. And then I have college as well.
Yeah.
But I think it is like it would be easy to cope with, because I don't have to go into like an office or like I have to go into a shop and work there for 9 hours straight.
Yeah.
When I'm in college,
you're more in touch with the people and stuff like that. Like I was out at Dundee Fair the weekend, and we're lucky enough, a great day. But I saw most of the councillors were out there and whatever it is, and having to go to these events and stuff like that. Like it takes an awful lot of time out of your life then as well. You know what I mean? So these are the things. And then, as I said to you there before, with Sinn Féin, then they would have an awful lot of commemorations that would be going on continually throughout the year, I think.
Yeah.
Which is what's the biggest one of them you went to so far?
That one in Longwood. I'm trying to think. Like I've been to, like, there's other Sinn Féin events that are not related to commemorations.
Yeah.
Like there's like the National Women's Day one that I went to. Spoke at that.
What was that like?
It was just, we were all just sat there in the Central Bar in Navan, just sat there and we just spoke. Like there was women there from Palestine, women seeking refuge and stuff like that in Ireland. And like as Ireland's youngest candidate.
Well, you are?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Because like I said, I only turned 18.
Yeah.
Less than a month ago.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like talking upon that.
Okay, yeah.
Like my experience with it, and it kind of does put it into perspective. I didn't really know how well I had it until I listened to these women's stories, and people are like, "Why didn't you talk more?" And it's just, well, like, look at them compared to me; they've been through so much more. But
what kind of stories did you hear?
Like, I mean, this woman talking about like the whole Israel-Palestine conflict and stuff like that. I mean, it was really like weird to hear. That's like how things have gone. Or maybe they've always been like that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I suppose it's different for you hearing that first hand from somebody.
Yeah, it is, because you hear all these stories.
As opposed to watching it on the television.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and also like with the age as well. Like, they were all kind of in their 40s and 50s. Like, what am I going to be doing at 18 years of age?
Yeah.
Like I haven't even finished my degree. So
what did you learn from that event? Like with the
just women's stories. It was all just about women.
Yeah.
About like their hardships in life. And the support. Like there was other women that were talking about like like relationships with abusive men and stuff like that. Like I don't really want to go too much into detail about it, because these women, like, obviously, like it wasn't a filmed event. It was more of
just between yourselves and whatnot.
Yeah, kind of. Anyone was welcome to go to it, but it wasn't filmed. That as well. I'm trying to think, do we go to other events?
Were you surprised by some of the stories? Were you shocked with some of the stories?
Yeah, I was. Do you know what I was? Because that's what I mean. Like you just said there, like it's something you wouldn't hear on the telly.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
You know.
And then it's totally different. Like I remember a couple of years ago, I met a guy in Portugal. We were having a conversation. He was from Belfast, and he was telling me stories about the British Army coming into his house, taking his family out of the house in the middle of the night and stuff like that. And you know, it really stuck with me because when I heard somebody telling me that firsthand, do you know what I mean? Like they're telling you, and you know they're not telling you lies. They're telling you this is what happened.
Yeah.
You know, that really kind of was, you know, it made me look at things completely different. You know what I mean? So, like in terms of that, if you're listening to somebody from one of the women from Palestine, and they're telling you, you know, what happened or what goes on over there,
Yeah.
then you know you kind of sit back and you go, Jesus, like this is actually really happening. You know, because I think when you see the stuff on the TV and stuff, it's kind of can feel a little bit surreal sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and do you think then that with the from the women's point of view as well, you know, like there would be, I suppose, with the youth and everything like that in Enfield as well, you know, you'd have a different kind of a perspective on things locally. So I suppose you've another 2 weeks then to go forward, or no, sorry, 3 weeks, isn't it? 3 weeks.
In which
for the election.
Yeah. So we have to go into Navan on Friday. We have to like basically declare that we're running.
Mm-hmm.
So can't miss that, unfortunately.
Right.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But I think
that's on the 18th because I was in touch with the council as well about that, and 18th is the last day for people to.
What day is Friday? Is that the 18th?
It could be.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the day where you kind of put your stamp on it, I'm running, and that's it then. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's too late to drop out now, but actually I'm enjoying it so far. Like, I mean, you would.
Registration and stuff like that. What's the like? Obviously, I'm registered. I get the thing in the post. Do people need to register, or how does that work?
So you go on to checktheregister.ie. They're on all the leaflets, all of our Sinn Féin leaflets. You can get as a QR code, you scan it, you can put in check the register. Then you go on, you stick your PPS number in, Meath County Council, your address, date of birth, and you're registered.
Right. Okay.
Ready to go.
And who would be? I suppose a stupid question, but what kind of people would? I suppose people who are after moving in. To the area.
Some people think because we're Irish that they can't vote. Mm-hmm. I'm like, do you have a PPS number? You're eligible to work over here. Yeah. Yeah. Scan that.
Just get in touch with the council and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even need to get in touch. It's just all online. They just send out the leaflet in the post that you're now registered.
Yeah. It's a very straightforward process then, I presume, is it?
Oh, it's handy, like.
Okay.
And if you're not 18, you can still register. If you're 16, you can still register.
Yeah.
Pre-register.
Yeah. They're talking about, I saw recently there where the government were talking about bringing forward a motion to lower the voting age to 16. What do you think of that?
I don't know, I think it's good and I also think it's bad. Like, I don't know, like, I think it's a bit stupid. It's the whole presidential age thing as well. I think that's so stupid. I don't know, because how can...
Presidential age?
Yeah, the 35 years of age. Oh, and then you can be a Taoiseach at 21. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But as someone who's 16, you can't buy smokes, drink or vapes, but you can vote. I think it's very important. Voting is very important than not voting. Mm-hmm. And I think like a lot of young people, I know like my opinion varies from what they am feeling, but people, I don't think that a lot of 16-year-olds, I was very educated. Mm-hmm. You know, I couldn't wait to vote and I still can't, I haven't voted yet. But they don't really know what they're voting for. Mm-hmm. They might like, I like the Rebel songs, I'll vote for Sinn Féin, or you know, like Fine Gael have done me good for the past years, but like you're 16, what do you know? Fine Gael, all about them, they've done me well. Or Fianna Fáil, like my parents vote Fianna Fáil, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, so you think it's a little bit young still?
Yeah, like I still, maybe 17, I don't know, maybe it's a bit stupid, there's no point then really. But like you can't drive when you're 16, you can't smoke when you're 16, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. But you can vote, it just kind of singles it out. Yeah. But I don't know, if you ask me again, like tomorrow, I might have a different opinion on it. Yeah. So it's just that's the only thing I have a different opinion on, depending on how I feel.
But I think, you know, voting is a very important thing. And I think somebody that's younger can be, how would I say, not manipulated, but can be influenced. Yeah. Easier. Yeah. Depending on what the political campaign is going to be. And then, the next thing is, like, this is the 5-year thing here now as well. And so, like, something that I follow closely is the development of artificial intelligence. The whole thing is going to be completely different in 5 years' time because of artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
So, I suppose, yeah.
Like people like on TikTok see like Simon Harris. Now I'm not knocking him. I'm sure he's a great fella, But he's just the one that sticks out to me because he's always on my For You page. Simon Harris is here, and he's here like this, talking at his desk.
Yeah.
It's like, right, guys.
Oh, he's a grand fella, isn't he? He's lovely, isn't he?
Yeah, he just like everyone's like someone says to me, says, "Oh, well, I think he's great. He's after lowering our tuition." That's his job. He's the Minister for Finance and Further Education. That's his job.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, well, like, they didn't have to do that. I'm sure they didn't, but sure, who's going to live here if they can't afford it?
Yeah. But it's funny, they're just doing it now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they didn't do it a couple of years ago.
I know. Like, if you're like if you've already done a degree, you have to pay, what is it, $7,000 a year?
Right, okay, yeah.
To go for an undergraduate degree.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what a postgrad degree is. It's colossal. It's like being in America. Right. I have friends from America, and they're like, well, like, it's not bad as ours. Wait till you see the postgrads.
So how much is
Oh, God. So to be a solicitor for 1 year, 11,500, and then for a postgraduate
that's just for your fees and then your accommodation and everything else on top of that.
Your accommodation?
Yeah.
No,
that's on top of that, like wherever.
Oh yeah, like no, that's just for your course.
Oh yeah.
You don't get any books or anything out of that. It's just literally to go to the college.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you want to be a PME, professional masters of education, 14,000. Yeah. It's and you don't even get full SUSI funding for that either.
Yeah, yeah.
Not all college courses are eligible for it either, so you can only get $6,000 off if you're really, really bad off.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's too expensive. It's too expensive.
Well, it's a bit of a deterrent, really, isn't it?
It's like the secondary schools all over again, where you have to pay for all your books. You don't get any free lunches or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this whole healthy eating policy, and they don't even give you food for it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I go all day about talking about that stuff, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. Well, listen, it was great to talk to you, and wish you the best of luck going forward in the election.
Thanks very much.
If you're out there, folks, I hope you enjoyed the conversation and an insight into Aoife Drew today. And thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.